In this video, I'm going to be talking about down touches, but specifically I want to have you look at the three fast lines, trend green and gray, and they are going to, they're in a spike down situation normally, but what I want you to see is that trend gray, green, and red are down, and they're all under blue, trend blue. When blue, pink, and yellow, the trio, is under zero. Now there's all kinds of different variations from that, but when you get those three all lowest, or all three under the blue line, which is when the trio is under zero, the blue is the bottom line of the trio. And so when that condition occurs, it's oftentimes the bottom of a cycle and things start moving up. So it's a real easy way to spot the bottom of a cycle. You just have to verify where you're at on the different situations. I've got several examples that I'm going to go through here. Hopefully, I'm going to do it rather quickly, but I just wanted to again point out to you that the green, the gray, and the red trend lines are all under the blue line, and in this case here, trend blue is, let me see, the trend blue is at minus 1.55, so it's just barely under zero. That would be the green vertical line. The same thing is true over here on the pink line, and again I've got three daily charts listed on this particular example. The green line and the pink line are the same lines. The pink line here on the trend chart is with green and gray and red all going down. The gray line has a notch in it, so it went up down. It's in a TOC lower pattern at the moment. Excuse me. But you get the idea. The trio is under zero, and the gray, green, and red are under the trio. There's one example over here where we have a spike down on this white line on the trend chart down here. Gray is the lowest, and then the trio is just under zero again, and it gives us a couple, 2-3 nice days going up. In this, I got another example here that I'll point out to you. This is one example with the green, red, and gray all lower than the blue trio, blue, pink, yellow trio line, but the gray is just started to go up, and it's kind of like a leading indicator telling us that things will go, that it will go up the next day. And excuse me. And so we see from that perspective, we see that we have a zip green at zero here for a few days, and we're also starting into a power yellow lowest down here in the power chart. And you know that when you have zip and zip yellow and power yellow lowest both going up, that you have a nice uptrend. In this case, we just have one of them, and if you watch the zip line, you can ride that for several days in trading if you want. But that's the basic idea on having those three down low. Again, we have two lines on the right chart. I have one on pink, on the pink vertical line, and here the trend red has gone up, and the green and the gray are both going down, and the line is under, and the three trio lines are under zero. And we see a reversal pattern where the trend goes up for several days. One that's not the same, the trio is above zero, but the three lines are under it, and gray is lowest. And when you see gray lowest, or real down, far down low, it often will react by it, or it often has the, how do I say this, has the power to tell you that it's going to go up next day just on its own because it is the lowest. You always like to see green at 0 if you can when you do this. The trend chart over here is a similar one on this particular date. I'm in Facebook here, and this is 12/1/16. And on December 1st here, 2016, we had the trend red being lowest, and then green and gray. The gray was at a slightly less of an angle, but again, the trio is below 0, so we're reacting and it's going up. Here's a reaction over here where the trend trio is high above 0, but green and red are below, and it goes up for a couple, well, the second day. 2 days after this white vertical line, it starts out real low. It gaps down low, but it becomes a green candle. So there's just different things that happen if you're not lowest all the time. If the three are not together and down lowest. This here is the last one I'll show you. This happens to be a nice, on the cyan line, we have the gray, the trend gray, red, and green spike down under and be lowest. And in this particular example, the trend yellow is at minus 0.35, pink is minus 0.69, and blue is minus 1.04. So it's all just came just underneath the 0. And then in this case here, we had a really nice gap up. But we had a strong downturn too, like you can tell in the zip chart, or that's kind of where I look first. On the day before the vertical cyan line, zip red was at 70, and on the day before the gap up, zip red was at 5. And so it dropped 65 points. And again, you probably heard me talk about the different, when zip red drops 50, or when zip red drops 70, or when zip red drops that 85 to 90 range, maybe 82 to 90 range. And then of course when it has that diff spread, DIFF spread in a 1 day's movement, things usually and typically happen, depending on which way the line is going, of course, and the setups that you have. The last one here it shows us with this is the yellow vertical line. It shows us with the red and green under the trio, and the gray is in a down touch pink. And so it's not exactly like I like to see it when all three are going down, and you know, strongly if you can find them. Obviously the cyan line over here shows a great way to see it, because we end up with a nice gap up. But the main thing that I just wanted to emphasize here was that we have the trend red, the trend green, and the trend gray under the trio, and the trio is under 0. So all 6 lines are under it, but the 3 fast lines are under the trio, with the blue trio line at the bottom. So it's a good reaction going back up. It's definitely worth keeping in mind when you're looking at different situations, because you can be glancing at a chart and see a nice setup. So enjoy your time trading. It's just unbelievably fun. I hope you're having fun as well.